Hi, so today I'm using Wet n Wild. I'm doing a full face of Wet n Wild products and I'm using some brand new products, some old favourites, and I'm really excited to get going. So let's get started. Let's start by priming the skin, and the first product I'm going to use is the Wet n Wild Impossible Primer Base, and this says it mattifies, it hydrates, it blur pores, it preps skin for lasting makeup, and it's impossibly silicone free. So I'm going to give that a go. I haven't tried this yet. Oh yeah, it's typical. Oh, it does feel like a silicone primer, but it's saying it's silicone free. Oh, and you do get like a burst of coolness to the skin, which means it is quite hydrating. You do get that when you first apply it to the skin, which is really, really nice and refreshing. That is totally not what I expected. It's gorgeous. That feels really refreshing. Looks like a silicone primer, says it's silicone free. I do feel like it has kind of perfected my skin a little bit, but feels really, really, really comforting and cooling on the skin. So really, so far, really like that. So I'm going to move on to base, and there's a couple of options. So you have the original foundation, the Photofocus foundation. They also have this in a dewy finish, but today I want to actually try one of the new tinted hydrators. So these are basically a lightweight, non-greasy finish, and they give a sheer to medium coverage. So I'm all about the medium coverage, or the more, I don't like really full coverage, but I do like a medium coverage. So I'm going to try apply this with a brush, because I think you always get a better coverage with the brush. I have the shades, what shades? I have the shades medium tan and fair. I'm actually going to mix these two, because I actually think my perfect shade would be light medium. But I'm going to try and mix and make that shade myself. So I'm just going to press this product into the skin. And I'm not buffing it in, I'm actually pressing it in because I want to get that extra coverage. Again, this feels quite cooling on the skin, which is very comforting. I actually noticed when I put this on my hand that it kind of slightly changed colour, so it kind of oxidised. And that's why I'm kind of going with a lighter shade than it looks like I need, because I do think it's going to oxidise on my skin. So that's one layer of that product pressed into the skin. Now it does look slightly lighter than I would normally go for. Mixing wasn't the right idea, but let's see. So I'm going to just tap into the skin with a beauty sponge, just simply because I like to take any of the excess product that is sitting on the skin away. And I also love to kind of build up the product, the coverage I want with a brush, and then tap it out with a beauty sponge. And that actually is given a lovely coverage. So it definitely is a little bit too light for my skin. It hasn't oxidized as much as it did on my hand, which is interesting. But yeah, we'll go with it. We'll bronze up, we'll make it work. And see how we get on. So next I'm going to use the Photofocus concealer in the shade, what is this? In the shade Light Ivory. So I believe there is another concealer that's supposed to resemble the Tarte Shape Tape, but I actually couldn't find it to purchase. So I'm not sure, but if anyone has tried it, let me know. I'm really, really curious to try it. It looked amazing when I seen it, but it was an American YouTuber that I seen it on, so maybe it's not available here. But if you know, let me know. I'm going to just run it down the center of the nose, a little bit on my chin, and a little bit in between my brows, and press with the beauty sponge. To be honest, I haven't used Wet n Wild in a while, and I just got a real sense of wanting to try it again just before Christmas, and I'm only getting around to filming this now. But yeah, I always loved it. Like, that Photofocus foundation was a huge favourite of mine for years. I loved it because it gives beautiful coverage, but is really, really lightweight. It's just gorgeous. It actually reminds me a lot of Naked foundation from Urban Decay. Absolutely love that. It's so good. That is the concealer. To set my under eye concealer, I have always loved the Colour Icon Reserve Your Cabana. It's actually supposed to be like a bronzery, highlighty product, but I love it for under the eyes to set. So I'm going to just use that and press that in under the eye. It gives a gorgeous radiance. So I am going to cream contour with the Megaglo dual-ended contour stick. So you've got a contour and a highlight, but I'm just going to add a little bit of it to my sponge. This is the shade Light Medium, and I'm just going to add a tiny bit of this product onto my sponge and just tap it into the skin. I actually don't have a bronzer from Wet n Wild, would you believe? So I'm going to just use my normal bronzer. And that's kind of why I'm using this product. So to me, this is definitely a contour product. Like, you can probably see it, it's quite a cool tone. So I'm not going to go too mad with it, but it's just really to add a little bit of structure back into the skin, particularly because I've gone a little bit lighter with my foundation. I just feel like I probably need it a little bit more. And because I don't have a setting powder, I'm going to just use the Reserve Your Cabana, and I'm going to pop it all over the skin. I do believe that Tinted Hydrator does need setting. It's a little bit tacky on my skin. I have probably got normal to dry skin, but that is a little bit tacky, so I would personally set that down a little bit, just a little bit. It looks really well though. I'm going to set my face with some setting spray, and I'm going to use the Natural Finish setting spray. I'm going to just leave that there to sit while I do my eyes. So the most exciting product for me is the new Colour Icon little palette. So you can get, there's a 10 pan and there is also a 5 pan, and they're just really gorgeous. I love Wet n Wild eyeshadows, like if you might remember the originals, but I'm really excited to try these. I'm going to use the Heart and Soul palette today. I'm not going to do a crazy look, but I'm just going to add a little bit of colour, a little bit of shimmer, and see how we go. So these have been reformulated as far as I know, which is great. So I'm actually going to take a mix of the first 2 shades here, and I'm going to use them kind of as my transition shade into my crease. So I actually haven't even put any primer on my eye because I'm only going for kind of an everyday eye look, and I'm not too fussed about primer on my eyes with that. I don't know if you can see that, but that concealer is definitely starting to crease a little bit, so I think I might actually set it with my normal powder, the powder I always use to set my under eye, and my sponge, just to give it a little bit more help. I think it's not setting well with the Reserve Your Cabana. So I don't know if you can see it, but that concealer is definitely not making my eyes look that good. It's really kind of caking and just making my skin look really, really crepey and old. So I have to try that again with some other products just to see, but for now I don't think that would be something that would suit my skin at all. I have quite dry under eyes, so that's probably not helping. But I'm going to continue on with my eyes. I'm just going to basically keep working that product into the eye, but it's quite subtle and quite pretty. Next I'm going to take the shadow here, and I'm just going to add a tiny little bit of colour just to the outer corner. Nice colour, nice pigment. Just a little bit, just to add a little bit of glam to the eye. I'm going to just start buffing that in. So I just want to add some definition to the outer corner without being too severe. I'm just taking the Champagne Shimmery shade and I'm just pressing that all over the lid, and I am bringing it in to meet the darker colour on the outside, because again I said I just want this as an everyday eye look, so that's perfect for that. I'm just going to do the other eye, and I'm just going to add a tiny little bit more definition back into the very, very outer corner, just to give it something, a little bit of a contrast. I'm going to move on to the Nude Awakening palette because I want an eyeliner and I want an inner corner highlight, and I don't really feel like that other palette has that, to be honest. So I'm going to move on to this. So I'm going to take a little small brush, a little pencil brush, and I'm going to add this beautiful champagne, much lighter champagne than the previous palette, into this corner. I actually think this one is a real complete look eye palette. I really do. I think it's gorgeous. It's quite cool toned actually. A little flat brush, and I take the black from the palette, the Nude Awakening palette, and I'm going to press that. Actually, I'll do it on this eye. I'm going to press that along my lash line. So I feel like this is really pigmented, this black, and it gives a gorgeous soft eyeliner look to the eye. That's gorgeous. I really like that shade. Really nice, just pressing and stamping across the eye. And then I'm going to bring it slightly under the eye. And then I'm going to take a little brush and I'm going to go in with that shade that I used on the outer corner above. I'm just going to bring that under the eye, just to blend that black out. And as I get to the outer corner, I'm just slightly pulling the black up. It'll just give the illusion of a more lifted eye. I'm going to just grab a black liner just to tight line and put it on my waterline. Just to kind of complete the look. And then I'm going to take that Champagne Shimmer shade again and just pop it under the brow bone. Just to lift that brow. So the Big Pop of mascara I'm going to try is bigger, better, so bigger and better. And this is meant to be lengthening, volumizing, all of those things. So it's a really thick wand and it has a lot of product on it. So just make sure you get rid of all that product before you actually apply to your lashes. Give it a go. So that is hugely lifting my eyelashes. Like it's really, really grabbing them and lifting them. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's really, really doing it. It's so good. I do think this is going to be mascara that I'm really going to enjoy as it dries down. Holy crap, that is like giving me so much length, so much lift, so much volume. So there are a couple of brow products that are new and I want to try them. So this is the Brow-Sessive Brow Pencil in the shade Medium Brown, and this is the Brow-Sessive Brow Sculpting Gel in the shade Brown. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a spoolie on the end of the brush, on the end of the pencil. And I'm going to start to carve out my brows with this shade. So I would probably get away with the dark brown as well, but I've started, so I'm going to continue. So I obviously have microblading on my brows and they do need redoing. So let's see. That is actually impressive. So this is one of the pencils that you actually, they're not retractable, like you have to sharpen it yourself. That's just something to bear in mind. I know a lot of people don't like that type of product, but that is one brow done versus the other. And I'm just going to pop on a little bit of the brow sculpting gel. So this is like the Benefit Gimme Brow, but it's probably a lot more creamy. I was expecting these pencils to be a little bit more waxy than they are. I'm not getting that from them yet, because a lot of the time if they're less expensive they can be a little bit more waxy, which is not ideal, but this doesn't feel like that so far. Now I wouldn't say my brows are like amazing from it, but I think it was actually, no, I do like that. I actually do like that. I definitely would use this. It does feel slightly more waxy when going on, but I haven't actually seen that result in the mirror yet. We'll see as the day goes on. Sometimes they kind of get, let's say, a little bit more glowy kind of, or greasy throughout the day. They don't tend to last as well if they're waxy. So we'll see. So I'm just going to quickly bronze with my own bronzer, and then I'll come back to blush. So I only have the original Colour Icon blushes, but I'm going to use the shade Pearlescent Pink, which are still available. They're just in a different kind of packaging now. I'm probably reformulated at this point, but I'm going to use it for the purpose of this video. I really enjoy these blushes, and like Wet n Wild is so inexpensive. It's ridiculously inexpensive. So I probably put a little bit too much on, so I'm just going to take a clean brush and I'm just going to blend it all in. And I absolutely love the Megaglo highlighters. Like, I am obsessed. I love them in the eyes. But my favourite one is the Pearlescent Pink for the face. And I'm going to just pop that on a brush. Apply it to the high points of my face. So I'm just applying the shade Never Nude lipstick. The Wet n Wild lipsticks are just deadly, like so good. I have so many shades I love. I really have so many. I love them. So that's a lovely nude shade, but I'm going to apply a little bit of a pinky gloss on top from a different brand, just to kind of finish the look. And then I'm just going to finish with a little bit of setting spray, not too much. And I'm going to press it in with my damp beauty sponge, and that just brings the whole look together, just makes it all look seamlessly. So the stars of the show for me would definitely have to be the Big Pop mascara. That is genuinely unbelievable, okay? Genuinely unbelievable. I'm really liking this Tinted Hydrator, really liking the Impossible Primer. The jury's out on that concealer. That's the old concealer, but the jury's out on it. I love the eyeshadows actually, particularly the Nude Awakening. I think that's probably my favourite of the two. I think it's a nicer kind of blend and that kind of thing. I think it's lovely. Anything else? I love the highlighters. I can't beat them. Love the blushers. I do love the bronzer, but I just didn't have it here. So that's really it. That's me using kind of a lot of first impressions or a lot of old favorites of Wet n Wild. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know down below what your favorites are. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave, and ring the notification bell if you would like to be informed of my new uploads. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll chat to you next time.